It is a fact. There may never have been another intelligent, technologically advanced alien species in the history of the universe. To start with, our understanding of the size and scale of the universe has increased dramatically. We now know, thanks to observations, how big the universe is and how many galaxies there are within it. And so when we look into the deep space, we can calculate how many stars there, both now and over the entire cosmic history since the Big Bang. That number is huge, somewhere close to 10 to the 24th. It represents the number of chances the universe had over the past 13.8 billion years to produce life like ours. We used to wonder how many of those stars had planets around them, how many of those planets were rocky and capable of having atmospheres like our own, and how many of them were the right distances from their stars to have liquid water on their surfaces. We know that between 80 and 100% of stars have planets or planetary system orbiting them. Amazing fact for itself. Approximately 20 to 25% of those systems have a planet in their star's habitable zone, meaning they are in the right location for liquid water to form on their surface. And approximately 10 to 20% of those planets are Earth-like in size and mass. So, there are more than 10 to the 22nd potentially Earth-like planets out there in the universe with the right conditions for life on them. It's even better because except for the very first generations of the first stars, most of them come enriched with the heavy elements and ingredients necessary for life. When we look at the interstellar medium, we find the elements of the periodic table: carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, silicon, and more, necessary for life as we know it. When we look inside meteors and asteroids in our own solar system, we find not only these elements, but we find them configured into organic molecules like sugars, carbon rings, and even amino acids. In other words, there are not only more than 10 to the 22nd potentially Earth-like planets out there in the universe, there are more than 10 to the 22nd potentially Earth-like planets with the right raw ingredients for life. But here comes the bad news. In order to get a human-like civilization, this needs to happen. 1. The step of abiogenesis, where the raw ingredients associated with organic processes actually become what we recognize as life, needs to occur. 2. Life must survive for billions of years on a planet in order to evolve multicellularity, complexity, differentiation, and what we call intelligence. 3. And finally, that intelligent life must then become a technological civilization, either gaining the ability to announce its presence to the universe, to reach out beyond its home and explore the universe, or to reach the stage where it can listen for other forms of intelligence in the universe. And we need all three. When Carl Sagan originally presented Cosmos in 1980, he claimed it was reasonable to give each of these three steps a 10% chance of succeeding. If that were correct, there would be more than 10 million intelligent alien civilizations that have existed in the Milky Way galaxy alone. Well, it may have occurred multiple times on Earth alone, or on or elsewhere in our solar system, or it may be such a rare process that even if we created 100 clones of a young Earth, or 1,000 or 1,000,000, our world might be the only one where it occurred. And even if life does occur, how fortunate do you need to be to have it survive and thrive for billions of years? Would a catastrophic warming scenario like Venus be the norm, or a catastrophic freezing scenario like on Mars? Or would life wind up poisoning itself out of existence most of the time, as it almost did on Earth 2 billion years ago? And even if you had life make it for billions of years, how often would you get something like the Cambrian explosion, where huge, multicellular, microscopic plants, animals, and fungi came to dominate a planet? It could be relatively common, where maybe 10% of attempts make it, or it could be rare, where 1 in a million or even 1 in a billion are closer to the realistic odds. And even if you get there, how rare is a tool-using, technology-developing, rocket ship-launching species like a human being? Complex reptiles, birds, and mammals that could be considered intelligent by many metrics have been around for tens to hundreds of millions of years. But modern humans came about less than 1 million years ago, and we've only became what we'd consider technologically advanced in the last century or two. Is there a 10% chance that if you make it through the previous step, you get to a spacefaring civilization? Or is that more like 1 in 1,000, 1 in a million, 1 in a trillion, or even worse? The truth of the matter is this: we don't know. We know the universe gives intelligent life a very large number of chances, on the order of 10 to the 22nd. And we know that there's only a small probability of going from a chance at life to a spacefaring, technologically advanced civilization. What we don't know is whether that chance is something like 10 to the minus 3, 10 to the minus 20, 10 to the minus 50, or any number in between, or even worse. We know that life like humans arose once at least, so the probability must be non-zero. But beyond that, we need data. And no amount of speculation or pronouncements will substitute for that information. We've got to find it to know. And so far, we found nothing. This episode is brought to you by My Astronomy channel. Subscribe to our channel and enjoy free weekly universe episodes.